Snautra Aure Mazdal Hashem Vahu Vahishtemasti Ushtasti Ushtahamai Yatashai Vahishtai Hashem Maname Ahura Mazda. To think a good thought, to speak a good word, to do a good deed is righteousness. Happiness comes to those who live with the consciousness of righteousness. And with that sentiment, ladies and gentlemen, this is Amalsad and welcome to BaHumata, a program designed to build oneness with the consciousness of righteousness in humanity. The goal is not to grow the plant, but to plant the seed for each one of us to blossom with our own love, light, grace, joy, and peace. So sit back, relax, and get ready for this very special journey to enlightenment. And as you do, please join me in giving a warm Zartushti welcome to our very own Zartushti neuroscientist from United Kingdom, Dr. Karishma Koka.
Amazor Hama Ashobad, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us today to share Asho Zarathustra's message, which is universal, timeless, and time-tested, and that guides all aspects of our life so that we can take action for progress, happiness, abundance, peace, and harmony for all. So join us to form a fellowship of collective consciousness, focused on prayer with action and action with prayer. With good thoughts, hence the meaning of the word BaHumata is with good thoughts. We have with us today Mabid Sahib Zarrir Bhandara from California, and I request him now to give us an important healing prayer for Mabid Soli P. Dastur, for his health and well-being, and also for the healing, the physical and mental health of all those around the world who may be plunged into all different kinds of ill health or difficulties currently. So sending our thoughts out as a fellowship of collective consciousness, I hand over to Mabid Zarrir Bhandara.
As we recite the healing prayer, I would like to say a few words that when we say the prayer for somebody who is healing, we need to focus on healing aspect rather than thinking or saying or spreading the message that this person is not doing well or is sick. Then we are attracting more of those kind of thoughts. So we need to focus on healing, that person is healing. Let's recite two Yatha videos and one Ashimvahu, and then recite Adibesias Niniran. Yatha video Atha Ratu Shashauchi Thacha Vange Kush Dasau Manango Shothanam Ange Kush Masai Shatrim Cha Huraya Indrigumyo Dadat Vastarem Yatha Kuvedyo Athauratu Shashauchi Thacha Vange Kushdasdao Manango Shothananam Ange Kushmasai Shatrim Cha Huraya Indrigumyo Dadan Vastarem Ashim Vahu Vahishtam Asti Ushta Asti Ushta Amai Yad Ashai Vahishta Yashem. Now let's recite the healing prayer, Dadi Bestesti Nirang. Dada Orinjanda Tamana Dana Parvarta Ro Afridega Ro Kerfinga Ro Amakshila Hariman Hicha Nada No Nattavanan Bahichi Nashen Hormas Dada Ring Hariman Marochi Dari Dadar Pang, Hariman Napang, Hariman Kakshaman, Hariman Durshaman, Hariman Dafin Shaman, Hariman Shakastring Shaman, Hariman Halak Shaman, Awalin Zartosting Pang, Kahuramasda, Bulanda Kami Bavajani, Ashoni Hashem Vahu. Vahishtam Asti, Ushtam Asti, Ushta Amai, Yad Ashai, Vahishtam Yashem. God bless you all.
Thank you, Arbat Sahib Mohammad Zarrir Bhandara. I will now play us a 1-minute recorded by my mother Jeru of the Karda 6 of the Ushtavaiti Yasna, Mini Rug.
Karito beshes yo, Ulvaro beshes yo, Matro beshes yo, beshes ana, beshes yo temo, Yata madre, Sento beshes yo. Yona Ashano Ashurutwa Beshizra Ashizriasti Beshizana Beshizona
And I will now hand over to Arbat Sahib Zarrir Bhandara. Mohammad Sahib, please explain to us the significance and meaning of this.
This translation is from Kavasti Adalji Kanga's Kordevasta Bamaini. I quote, one who heals by means of purificatory rites or restores to health, one who cures by law and justice, a surgeon, or one who heals with the knife, one who restores to health by means of vegetable drugs, herbal medicines, and one who heals by means of reciting the mantra. Thus, there are various doctors of 5 kinds. But he who heals by means of reciting the mantra is the best amongst all the healers, all the physicians. He indeed is the best healer. Explanation. The meanings of the word Baiseja occurring in the paragraph are healer, curer, restorer to healthy condition by purifying the body and mind. Such 5 types of healers are mentioned. First, one who heals by means of purificatory rites. He is to be regarded as the purifying priest, giving ablution to polluted persons and the giver of Barashnu, whose function is to give purification by driving away the pollution of the person. Second, one who heals by law and justice should be regarded as the judge, whose function is to give justice as he deems fit for both the plaintiff and the defendant by giving proper decision to the matters in dispute. Third, the surgeon is the doctor who knows the work of surgery. Fourth one, who restores to health by means of herbal medicines should be regarded as physician, who by means of herbs or by means of drugs derived from various kinds of plants cures the ailing person. Fifth one, who heals by recitation of mantra should be regarded as the physician giving peace and ease to the mind by certain fixed sacred verses of the Holy Avesta and giving comfort to the body. Moreover, all the physicians, he who gives relief and peace of mind to the ailing person by reciting the holy spells is regarded as the greatest healer. The reason stated to be is that the person who purifies the inner part of the righteous man brings comfort to his body and mind and gives happiness by reciting near him and explaining the efficacious and sacred verses of the good Mazda worshipping religion, unquote. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the blessing of your presence and the beautiful explanation, Mabad Sahib Zarrir Bhandara. As Zarathustra Sahib said, Yanim Mano, Yanim Vacho, Yanim Shyotnim, Ashanu Zarathustra. So with his guidance of the good thoughts, words and deeds for the good of all, I have put together BaHumata to share the knowledge in the prayers with meanings, principles and the practice of the Zarathustra deen, and together with all of you under the guidance of all our elders to explore how this guides all parts of life and gives strength to convert challenges into opportunities. We can only do this if we conserve and honor the great legacy of our knowledgeable, respected Mabids, elders, scholars, learned people, and to bridge the communication between the youth and the senior Mabids to encourage their development together with the younger generation so that we can get empowerment with knowledge and leadership for everyone, and together form a fellowship of world peace, happiness, prosperity, and Ushta for all. With this, may I please introduce to you Mabids Mehraban Firouzgary. Please, may I have the next slide? Who has been the guiding light for this project. I dedicated this to my grandfather, Ervid Noshirvanji Pestanji Pantaki. And Yasdi, may I go back 2 slides, please? One more slide, please. And my grandfather, Ervaji Pestanji Noshirvanji Pantaki. Mabid Soli Dastur has been the guiding friend of this project. And this project may never have come to the world without Meher Amalsad and Mr. Noshir Dadrawala and Yazdi Tantra. I think we've got a little problem. Right. My inspiration for this project has come through conversations with Mr. Rohinton Munshi at the ZTFE. And I would like to express my deepest gratitude to him, to Mr. Malcolm Debu, Mr. Rusi Dalal, and all our Mabids, Mabid Bhada, Madan, Unwala, Writer, Bedwar, and Mabid Vajifdar, together with Mr. Erva Darais Potel and the family of Dr. and Mrs. Munshi. Without the environment to help a grain of sand grow into something better, this would not have come about. Our team, Yazdi, next slide, please. Our theme for the day is the Ushtavaiti Gatha, Yasna 43.1, Ushta Maya Mai Ushta Kammai Chit, which says, may upliftment be to that person to whom happiness reaches others. Our first speaker of the day is Mabed Mehraban Firouzgary, who will be followed by our other 4 speakers. To give you an introduction to Mabed Firouzgary, Mabed Sahib has helped many people through many generations. He is regarded as one of the most highly qualified and respected senior priests. He's the head priest in Iran. He was born in Yazd, Iran, on Yalda, the winter solstice night of December 21st. He's an inspiration for serving the worldwide Zoroastrian community with the willingness to share his knowledge and wisdom. Currently, he's in great pain, yet he has made the time to give us this recording. He has made time to teach me over the many months. His outstanding contributions through various articles on various religious subjects has meant that his belief, good and evil, are not absolute, but relative, and that sins are to be judged only by God. Therefore, through correcting our thought, our word, and our action as needed, enables us to achieve a happy and harmonious life. Mabed Firouzgary has been awarded the Chehre Mandegar Award, the Everlasting Personality, by the Tehran Zartoshti Anjuman for his over 50 decades of selfless service to our community. His appointment as the marriage registrar for Zoroastrians of Tehran by the Justice Ministry of the Iran government, he conducts this with immense pride and joy. Now, his Avasta recitations are regarded as the best pronunciations. He conducts classes, teaching media, and has made many audio recordings for us all. His published Khorde Avasta book has been standardized for teaching. Furthermore, he has officiated in Yasna rituals and formulated the graduation of Mobedyars over the years. He has trained 5 very proficient Mobeds to replace him in his role, and the graduation of the 8 lady Mobedyars has helped the emancipation of ladies and to spread the word of Zarathustra. He has represented Iran and participated in panels in several venues, Parzor, UNESCO, the UN Declaration, the 2000th year of the Iranian culture. He has also been involved in scores of national and international seminars on Iranian culture and interfaith meetings, representing the word of Zarathustra to all. The last was in the Iranian Studies seminar held in Berlin in September the 9th to 13, 2019. Now, on a personal note, although he's regarded as peer affectionately by everyone, he is actually genuinely the kindest and most enlightened and dedicated person. He married Mehrangiz in 1968, who was from Iran, and a year later returned to Iran, where he was employed by IBM International. Now, not only is he technically very, very savvy, he was then transferred to Honeywell Controls in Tehran, where he served as the head of the electrical and instrumentation department for over 20 years. He retired in 1999, but continued working until 2016. His name, Mehraban, is kinder than kind, and he's gifted with a spiritual and luminous personality, emanating vibrant energy, together with knowledge, wisdom, and the ability to communicate this pristine knowledge. He is referred to as Peer, but he simply likes to be known as Mabed Mehraban Firouzgary.
Good day, my dear listeners. I have been asked to add my contribution to the project BaHumata, envisaged to propagate the essentials of the religion and insight of Prophet Zarathustra based on the scriptures and the cultural heritage that his religion brought about. I cannot start without putting on record my awe and admiration for the Ahuraik desired get-together of a highly learned scholar, Dr. Karishma Koka, equipped with the erudite list of her academic qualifications following her name, besides my being witness and extended benefits of being hosted by her grandparents, Firouzgary and Erwat Nawashir Pantaki, who managed the Bangalore Parsi guest house. And Karishma with Mr. Mehraban, the decade-long active mentor and coordinator of religious and cultural get-together. His Bread for the Mind website, his founding of the World Zoroastrian Youth Congress, and zeal for propagating about every beneficial community activity through his long list of global email addresses are some of his favorite hobbies. Imagine my pride and pleasure when it happened that both of them are amongst my dearest family friends. I have limited my contribution to the simplest and most basic, versatile, never-changing law of human rights. Happiness will come unto him who strives to make others happy, based on the law of karma's universal principle that what you sow is what you reap. Zarathustra's prophecy were spelled out 4 million years ago during a period when the society to be dealt with was in utter turmoil and corruptive up to even the royal court which held his religion. I am referring to the divine word Redeemer Zarathustra's own word. The first paragraph of Ushtavaiti Gatha, Ushtavaiti Yahmai Ushtavakamai, translated as illumination unto him, through whom illumination comes to others. In other words, whoever brings to others radiance, himself gets light. Ushta, meaning inner light, is thus conceived to be the utmost happiness. It is formed as the process output of our supercomputer, the physical brain, and its interface, our conscience. My thesis is that Manusha and mankind are related to Manesh, the intelligent mind, the Creator's gift to mankind for analyzing and looking at things logically. To me, our mind is like a computer that has been so programmed as such. It has various sources as inputs as well as processed output. The output of the mind depends on what the input signals are. For human beings, the main inputs are from our 5 inherited senses and extend up to several other inherited or complex psychological reactions. These process outputs frame all our physical and mental reactions, culminating into the feelings of physical and mental well-being, including the extent of happiness or misery. With that piece of my mind, I will now strive to probe our scriptures as to the ways and means of achieving Usha. As regards thoughts and words, our scriptures repeatedly instruct us to wish for a desire in a way that the same desire is granted to everyone else. Even in the Tandurusti which is paid to wish for personal health benefits, we include all others. That is meant to convey that it is the most effective means to fulfill our desired wishes. My preferred choice amongst the numerous instances amongst the scriptures is the condensed Amoireisha, paragraphs which appear about every Khordavesta, the book of our daily prayer. Briefly laid out, a devotee quoting them will be wishing for everyone under the sky to be endowed with the gift of glory and radiance, Usha, good health, long life, victory over untoward afflictions, honestly earned wealth with resulting peace of mind, children gifted with innate and acquired wisdom, lifelong happy life, and the best desired life, which is paradise on earth. All this at par with the Ashavans, the saints, filled with dazzling light, Usha, and absolute peace of mind. As for the achievement of Usha through deeds and in action, throughout our scriptures, the emphasis is laid on action by using the words Varshta, Yasna, Koneshni, and their like. Each one is prefixed with U, meaning good. This is considering that deeds and activities could be constructive or relatively destructive. They go to the extent that mankind commitment to our Mazda is to strive to be constantly active and intelligently progressive in order to bring about the Aporaik desired Preshokarati, meaning continued and sustained upbuilding of the standard of living to the point of ultimate world perfection. Thereby all the good thoughts and good words ought to culminate in good deeds. Our scriptures repeatedly stress over the benefit of putting into action the virtues that could lead to progress and happiness. The two prime prayers that form our first childhood and lifelong utterances of the scriptures are the Ashembuhu and Yatahu. Hashem means putting the law of Hashem into action, into practice. That prayer goes on to stress as to how it ends up into Usha, the desired happiness. In Yatahu, the main attributes and norms set for Ahu, the Lord of life, and Ratu, the Lord of religion, has been Ashakti, meaning conforming to Asha and all that surrounds that entity. The second paragraph goes to say that the gift of good mind is for those who work in the path of Mazda. One other example could be the putting of our based man or demonstrating our willpower, the kushti. It is put on when uttering Ekavashtam Yadvastam Prashut, from how indicating our belief that true action can make our life progressive. We tie the front note at the word Shahzadi, conveying that we will be committed to or noted down to work in the path of Mehta. I end by expressing my heartiest wishes that my rendering will be somewhat appreciated and will induce our babies, especially our youth, to get used to and sit for their daily prayers with much stress over the necessity to have very reliable sources of the root meaning of what they pray, and of course in the Western language, which is most efficacious. Amen. I'm always Mehraban Firouzgary.
Thank you very much, Mabed Sahib, Mehraban, Firouzgary, for the blessing of your talk today at such cost to yourself. From everybody, we have 445 people on, and they all express their gratitude to you. Our next speaker is Mabed Zarrir Bhandara from California. Now, Mabed Zarrir Bhandara is a truly exemplified version of the Zartoshti priest who nurtures the souls under his care with good thinking and in harmony with Asha. Mabed Zarrir Bhandara is viewed as a rare humanitarian priest who happens to be a 5th degree karate black belt of international repute. He has quenched the religious thirst of thousands of Zartushtis and has saved over 1,300 lives by donating his own blood, plasma, and platelets over 400 times, and is the only priest in California to perform well over 1,200 funeral ceremonies in his 48 years of priestly practice. Mabed Zarrir has been voluntarily serving the Zartushti community of North America and India for the last 48 years. We are very grateful to him for the blessing of his wisdom towards promoting the message of Zarathustra through his prayer services, his religious classes, his hambandagis, and the saving of lives, both human and animal, among the Southern African Californian Zartushti community for over 29 years. In North America, at the California Zoroastrian Center, he started a program for the spiritual training of our Southern Californian Zartushti children. Apart from performing rituals, he has trained numerous young aspirants for their Naujot, Navar, Martab, and other ceremonies, some of whom today are the boywalas of various Atash Behrams all over India. As a member of the Unity and Diversity World Culture Council, he represents our Zartoshti faith at interfaith meetings. He has given discourses on our religion and has also served on the executive committee of the First World Zoroastrian Youth Congress. He has kept our tradition alive by performing the Muktad ceremony for the past 29 years. He has also trained his son, Ervad Zarrir Bhandara, to be a magnificent priest. Xerxes Bhandara. He has dedicated his life to human welfare and social issues by offering selfless service to the causes he believes in. And in 2013, he was also the recipient of the Jewel of the Community Award through the Zoroastrian Children's Day organization. Mabed Bhandara has dedicated his life to human welfare and social issues by giving selfless service to the causes he believes in. He firmly believes that a priest should be a living witness, reflecting a life of a true Zartoshti and taking care of all living beings, as Zarathustra himself did. Their lives need to attract and inspire everybody they meet. He truly lives what he believes. And in the words of our respected High Priest of Mumbai, India, Avara Dasturji Dr. Firoz Kotwal, who says, "I wish all success to Zarrir and pray to our Mazda to bestow his divine blessings on Zarrir till the last breath of his life. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you Mabed Zarrir Bhandara.
Thank you, Karishma. Ushta ammai, ya ammai, ushta kammai chit. Make others happy and you'll be happy too. Beautiful. But what is happiness really? And how we can achieve it? In my humble opinion, it is a state of mind and experience. The Gatha, Gita, and Zen say, I quote, "For the uncontrolled, there is no wisdom, nor for the uncontrolled is there the power of concentration. And without concentration, there is no peace. And for the unpeaceful, how can there be happiness?" Unquote. Zen and the martial arts derived from Bhagavad Gita. We look for happiness in material things, but my dear friends, happiness is not in things, but it is in our beings. It is the experience that we get from different situations. In Sanskrit, Gujarati, Hindi, and Marathi, it is called Anubhav. The word Anubhav is made of two words. Anu means atom, and Bhav means experiences or incarnations. Thus, the atom has to go through different experiences to become whole, to become complete, and that in itself is becoming one with the divine, which gives one the ultimate blissful experience of happiness. In our Avesta prayers, we come across the word Yazamaide frequently, which means we revere and also we attune ourselves with the divinity. For example, Yange Hatam prayer. And talking about Yange Hatam prayer, I believe that instead of talking about the prayers and explaining the prayers, the reciting the prayers are the most important thing. So how about we all chant a short prayer of Yange Hatam together? And after that, I'll give you an explanation of the same. Yange Hatam Yasna Paiti Vango Masta Huro Vaitha Shathacha Yangam Cha Tasha Tausha Yazamaide. In Yange Hatam prayer, we revere and attune ourselves to all the good souls that did all the good things for this world in the past, in the present who are doing, and in the future who will be doing the progressive and productive things, bringing about happiness in this world through different means, through prayers, through actions, through thoughts. So we revere them and we attune ourselves with them. How do we receive blessings from God? The best thing we can do is follow our own religion and make prayers our topmost priority. Whether you know the meanings or not, it is not important. And the results you achieve are through the vibrations and not from the translations. Our thoughts are very important. BaHumata, think good. What is good? Good thoughts are pure thoughts. Without even realizing, so often we keep thinking about negative experiences, whether it's sickness, job, health, wealth, relationships, And then we say, how come I'm not getting anywhere? How come nothing is happening to me? How come I'm not progressing? How come my health is not improving? How come I'm not getting a job? How come I'm not getting a break? What do you expect? If you constantly keep thinking bad thoughts and talk about the things that you don't want, how can you expect the things that you want to materialize in your life? It doesn't work that way. Thinking good, it's not just an attitude, but it is also becoming like a magnet, attracting all the good things in life. And to do that, you must first cleanse yourself of all toxic things and empty yourself of all the negativity to make room for good things to be filled in your mind and body by receiving an abundance of blessings that God wants to give us. But are we ready to receive it though? And are we available for God or too busy? In Zoroastrianism, there are 4 cleansing rituals: Kusti, Kasti, Nan, Barishrum, and Ramin. We will just talk about how important the Kasti ritual is. The Kasti ritual is like giving a bath to our astral body. It is similar to running a virus scan in a computer to remove any kind of virus, which makes room for new useful programs to run the machine efficiently. Hence, when you perform the Kasti, and I would say one should perform the Kasti ritual at least 5 times a day, you are getting rid of all the bad things, imperfections, and negativity that hampers the progress of our mind, body, and spirit. Thus, by performing Kasti, you are emptying out, cancelling all the negative things. You are becoming receptive. You are opening yourself. You are becoming receptive and making room for God's blessings. Hence, the Sudre and Kasti garments are referred in Khorshid Nyash and Mer Nyash as the golden tools, Zarinumatem Surem. After performing the Kasti, we recite 101 names of Dadaro Ramazda, which are God's adjectives. And in doing so, we are downloading the updates, the patches for our software into our hard drive, this body. So we become receptive, and then we download in ourselves the qualities of Auramazda himself, because now our body has become vacuum, so we can suck in all the good qualities, all the adjectives of God. One of the important cleansing ceremony is also a boy ceremony. All of you must be familiar with the boy. I'm not talking about B-O-I boy. I'm talking about B-U-I boy, which literally means fragrance that we offer in our Pagagyari and Atash Barams 5 times a day. When you hear the sound of the bell with the utterances of Matravani prayers in the presence of an enthroned fire, it serves a dual purpose. One, it removes all kinds of afflictions and empties out the negative, just like the virus scan program. Cleans the computer. And 2, it fills you with Auramazda's blessings. The enthroned fire is a receiver and a transmitter of divine energies from the spiritual fire of Auramazda. Finally, I give you the 5 steps ascribed in our religion towards achieving perfection, immortality, and supreme bliss. The secret is in the Amesha Spentas, Auramazda's attributes, deputies who once again serve a dual purpose. One, looking after the creations. Two, give us their attributes to lead a perfect life. The first one, Spentamenu, is the Holy Spirit, which looks after the human beings, and the quality is wisdom. So one has respect for all human beings. So we have to, no matter what, we have to respect one another, no matter what. That's the cardinal rule, respecting each other. Spentamenu also helps us to question what is God's will, or is it God's will that I'm about to embark upon? Remember, God always wants us to be happy, Ushta. The second step, Vahumana or Bamanamshaspan, looks after the animal kingdom with the quality of intelligence or knowledge. God gave us dominion over animals to look after them. Zarathustra, our prophet Zarathustra, was giving food to animals, and ironically, most of us started making animals our food. Bamanamshaspan teaches us to be compassionate towards animals and helps us to acquire and use our intelligence to achieve our goals. The third step is Asha Vahishta or Ardibestamshaspan, who looks after the fire and energies. The quality it possesses is righteousness and orderliness. Hence, one has to follow the righteous path in an orderly manner. The fourth step is Sharavaramshaspan or Kshatravairya, stands for moral strength and conviction. When you are treading the path of Asha, righteousness, there will be a lot of obstacles coming your way. Keep that moral strength and courage to overcome those obstacles instead of giving up. The final step is love, holy piety, which is the quality of Spenta Armati, the Mother Earth. Whatever you do in life, invest your feelings into it. Do it with love instead of doing it mechanically or with a frown. When you follow these 5 steps, you will arrive to Harvatat, perfection, and Ameritat, immortality. What good deeds you do will have a lasting impact and be remembered forever, bringing supreme bliss. Summary: have 100% faith. Make prayers your priority. Wear Sudre and Kusti and attract good things in your life by thinking, saying, and acting positive and positive only in the present tense, because your present determines the next moment and thereby your future. So the positive here and now. So be positive here and now. Happiness is in giving, hence be a giver. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Mobed Sahib Zarrir Bhandara. We are most grateful to you. Thank you for highlighting the importance of good thoughts to drive all actions for the good of all, now and in the future.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Mobed Ramin Shahzadi. Mobed Ramin holds the honor of being the youngest Mobed of Iran and is currently living in Berlin, in Germany, with his wife, Mobedyar Dr. Parva Nami Iranian, who is an MD, and their 3 wonderful children. Mabed Sahib has a bachelor's in industrial engineering, which is called industrial productions, and a master's in project management. He has worked for about 10 years in the oil, gas, and natural gas companies in Iran. He has participated successfully and completed the 3-year training course, a very intensive training course of the Iranian Council of Mabeds called the Karbhari, in conjunction with a special training with senior Mabeds in Iran. Since 2009, Mabed Ramin became a Mabed who performed rituals and all ceremonies in Iran. Besides working as an engineer and successfully completing his Mabedi, Ramin also stands as another field of study in which he completed his MA in Ancient Language and Culture of Iran. At present, he is in Berlin studying for his PhD, which is focused on the contemporary Iranian Zoroastrian rituals and ceremonies. So he is a perfect example of bridging the previous generation with the new generation. And I'm very grateful to him for being here today. Mabed Ramin.
Chandra Hooray Mazdao. Hello everyone. First of all, I would like to thank and express my deepest gratitude to the founder, leaders, and all the colleagues who worked together to start this series of webinars which are named BaHumata. And thanks for inviting me to share my message with others. Also, I want to take this opportunity to wish healthiness, happiness, and achieving your goal in this new year, and hope that our Mess give all of you the best of the best in the year we have had. Also, like others, I pray for respected Mubet Solidastur and hope he recovers soon to have him in the near future as it was planned to have him also today. For the topic that we have today, to be happy makes others happy. I mostly want to say something to teenagers and young generation, and hope to have some of them now among us to pay attention, or I hope that recorded version of this series and my words pass to them and they put some time watching and thinking about them. The point is that from the viewpoint of people in age 20 to 40, most of the things which come to mind and most of the plans and goals are about making friendship, finding partner, finding a good job, making more money, marriage, and so on. Yes, they are some milestone and goal in our life, but they are not all meanings of our life. I believe that life is like a journey or trip. That the destination is important, but also we should enjoy the moment that we are in the way. In our journey, we have some friends and family with us. Also, some people that we don't know, but we will meet during our journey. Some pleasant moments and sad moments we will have each of us during this trip. And what am I saying is how related to our religion, maybe you ask now. But I'm trying to put the translation of verses of Ushtavaiti Gatha together and translate the main points into our modern language. We have Ushtau Mai, Ushtau Kahmoichi. Pasakshayos Mazdao Dao Yao Tahuro. Otayuiti Tvishin Gat Toi Vasemi. Atcha Moi Bismanam Vahishten. Yahmai Spentatva Mainu Urvaise Jaso. Mazdao Shatrao Ahni Vahu manangho. Yao Yasna Ishkaitao Ashao Pradente. From the teaching of Prophet Zarathustra, all of us heard many times that we should pay attention to both physical life and also we should not neglect spirituals. Tani and Ravani, Giti and Menu. Also, we believe that meaning of life. We believe that meaning of life is not just expected to reach to destination and finding a pleasant moment at destiny in heaven, which we call it Vaishnav. We want to enjoy the journey, and for that, we should also pay attention to other people which are with us during this life. It means that we should have strong kshatra, the power of being able to control ourselves. We should control our life, not let the wind to bring us with itself like dried leaves dropping down from trees. We should have BaHumata, good thought, which will be reflected in our words and actions. And for having the good fortune and enjoy our life, we should help our companions we have in our journey with us. With considering these few points in our mind, then we will not just think about our personal goal and ambitions, but also we will help other in such a way and by means that we could, and we'll try to make pleasant moment together. If we think this way, we will realize that praying is not just for the time somebody will pass away, or for the moment that we are facing predicament and bad situations. We should train ourselves to put reciting Avesta part of our daily routines and consider one usage of the Tinaz meditation and relaxing moments. Not only just that, but also we should pay attention to the meaning and philosophy of our rituals. We should learn from ritual ceremony like gambars. We should learn to enjoy the pleasure of sharing our things and achievements with other and helping other if we could. These points are some valuable diamonds that came from teaching of our religion, which I believe our hectic life in 21st century need to pay more attention to them and making them practical, rather than just proud of having them in our religious texts. That was my message that I wanted to share with you. Thank you very much for paying attention.
Thank you very much, Mobed Ramin, for your blessing. Thank you for representing Mobed Firouzgary, your uncle here, your granduncle here, by being in presence with us today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
Our next speaker is our young Iran Shah representative, Tinaz Karbhari. Tinaz is a very special person. She graduated with a bachelor's degree in visual arts, majoring in photography in 2009, and then went on to complete her master's in art and design at the Auckland University of Technology in 2013. Following this, she worked at the National Business Review in Auckland, New Zealand, managing all online and printing, advertising, photography, and temporarily even art direction. Tinaz established her own photography company, TK Photography, in 2009, covering a large range of events, while correspondingly freelancing for other photography companies and designing companies. She's now based in Hong Kong. Alongside her creative experience, Tinaz is heavily engaged and committed to her Zoroastrian community globally, not just where she is. This is reflected in her participation and attendance in numerous youth congresses, as well as her position as chair of the 6th World Zoroastrian Youth Congress. And I know what a difficult job that is because I see the young youth in London at the ZTFE continuing that work. Her commitment to bettering the Zoroastrian community is further reflected with her current position as trustee on the Zartushti Community Trust in Auckland and as the Global Youth Ambassador of the Iran Shah Initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, Hamdeens, please welcome Tinaz Karbhari.
Thank you, Karishma. Respected Morbid Sahibs, my fellow speakers, ladies and gentlemen, and all my fellow youth joining us online from all corners of the world. As Karishma mentioned, I'm Tinaz Karbhari, and I'm currently joining you all from Abu Dhabi. I'm currently part of a few global initiatives. However, I've decided to base today's presentation on my experience in organizing and chairing the 6th World Zoroastrian Youth Congress, which took place in 2015, and how components of that event really addresses the theme of this webinar, to be happy, make others happy. So the 6th World Zoroastrian Youth Congress was the first Zoroastrian Congress to ever take place in New Zealand. We had over 250 youth from all parts of the world attend. And throughout our 4-year journey of planning the event, what was most important for me was to ensure we developed a fabulous and unique experience for all our delegates. Having attended 3 congresses myself prior to this, I saw firsthand the standard that was set. So it was imperative for the organizing committee and myself to then set a level even higher than that, as we were expecting attendees of those events to later come and attend ours. So how did we achieve this? Firstly, it was through the venue we picked. King's College is considered to be one of the top private schools in Auckland. We had hired out the whole 33-acre venue and had access to 5 houses, the famous Campbell Sports Centre, the swimming pool, and the Great Hall, just to name a few of the school's hidden gems. As such, we were able to provide a very comfortable stay. Next, the event plan was tailor-made for our delegates. From the informative and educational speaker and open panel sessions, through to the amazing race which took place in the city centre, we offered attendees a platform to network on both a social and professional level. We had planned everything to a T, even the smallest details, and this was reflected in the fabulous feedback we received from delegates. In fact, I remember having a conversation with a young lady from USA on the final day of the Congress, and she told me that this Congress had provided her with the opportunity to reunite with old friends, meet new ones, and more importantly, the happiness it brought her being able to rekindle our joint pride of being a part of this unique global community. Another delegate who we had approached as a speaker prior to the event had never been given this kind of opportunity before, and the feedback we received from her was very touching. She had said, had you and your team not encouraged me and given me that nudge, I wouldn't have ever overcome my fear of talking in public to a crowd. And at this time, might I add, her presentation was fabulous, and many other delegates had approached and commended her on it. Hearing comments like this, I felt my team and I had accomplished the collective goal we had set. The next and final component I will be discussing is the Congress theme, the Green Initiative. Our aim was to make this the first ecologically conscious World Zoroastrian Youth Congress by spreading awareness of our country's pristine environment, along with our religion's customs to the best of our ability. With that in mind, items such as our lanyards, as well as the official Congress booklet, was made from 100% recyclable material. Recycle bins were also located all across the site, and there was never any wastage of food due to the compost system designed and implemented by the school. Further to this, our Q Haven project was the most impactful way we addressed the Congress theme. Q Haven is an initiative run by Thomas and Maruk Stazik, who bought the 60-acre farm in 2003 with the goal to reconvert it into a native nature reserve for the public to use and enjoy. The restoration plan, which began in 2008, scheduled to be completed in 15 years, is now almost finished. So on 21st June 2015, youth from our local Zoroastrian community, the organizing committee, and myself went to Kew Haven and planted over 300 trees. This was an enjoyable, uplifting, and therapeutic experience for us as a team and friends. The idea behind partnering up with Kew Haven was to be able to offset the carbon footprint of delegates who would then attend our Congress. We also offered delegates the opportunity to donate to the cause of which many did. This was our way, be it small, of being able to give back and create a healthier and more sustainable environment for our future. The trees we planted were fast-growing native New Zealand trees such as flax, karamu, and manuka, to name a few. And what's particularly special about these trees are that they will establish the canopy which will provide shelter for a variety of plant and bird life to flourish in years to come. As a whole, New Zealand and Zoroastrianism have an important common theme. New Zealand is reputed to be a clean, green country, and Zoroastrianism is recognized as an environmentally conscious religion due to the rituals and injunctions that aim to safeguard nature from polluting influences. The parallel between the objectives of this Congress and that of the Kew Haven cause was drawn in the need for collective effort. We saw our Congress as an opportunity to stress the necessity to grow as a faith and community. Thus, like the trees planted, we felt we were taking a step in securing perpetuity through adaptability. We were dedicated to preserving the land's legacy, just as the Congress was in preserving that of our religion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tinaz, for your inspirational talk about how we can work together in a fellowship to spread Ushta and save the environment and work effectively. Thank you. Now to our next speaker, the Mickey Mehta. Anything one says about Dr. Mickey Mehta would probably be a little short. So I'll try my best with the help of the biography written for me. Dr. Mickey Mehta has completed 50 years of yoga on the 29th of August 2020, when he turned 59 years of age and 40 years old in the industry. He's a leading global health guru, a corporate life coach, and a coach to Bollywood superstars, politicians, name it, and they'd probably come to him to learn something. He has also trained the police, the army, the navy, and several force personnel. He has an honorary double doctorate in holistic health and life sciences from the Open International University for Complementary Medicines. Dr. Mickey Mehta has won innumerable awards. To name a few are the Health and Wellness Icon Award in India by the Economic Times, and he's among the 100 most impactful leaders, wellness leaders of the world. And this was announced at the Global Wellness Conclave in 2018. Dr. Mickey Mehta has been awarded by the Rotary Club of India its centenary year for his highest contribution in the field of health and wellness. He is a recipient of the Fit and Fab Global Spa Award of 2019 and the pioneer of the holistic health and wellness movement in India. Dr. Mehta is the author of bestsellers such as The Shunyam Quotient and Lose Weight, Gain Shape. He's a speaker at Harvard University, the IIMs, the IITs, and has held holistic health workshops globally. Recently appointed as the Fit India Movement champion by the Sports Authority of India, he is also on the steering committee at the Indian Merchant Chambers. Maravala Hamdino, please join me in welcoming the author, the poet, the philosopher, the institution, the legendary Dr. Mickey Mehta.
Thank God, Meher, you smiled. You were holding such a serious face all through. Okay, so guys, happiness means smiling. Come on, let's everybody smile first. Okay, that's very nice. So there is one very powerful mantra we Parsis believe. And it's a 2-word mantra. And no sooner this mantra hits our ears, we all get charged up with energy and we start running. Guess what? Jamva Chaluji. Now that's the mantra of happiness, which Parsis like. And then we start with, Khao Pio Parsi, and then we say Geo Parsi. All the debauchery of life, and then we say, okay, long live Parsi. Okay, that's a paradox here. So a little sarcasm. So let me talk about happiness. Now let's re-examine what happiness is. I think happiness is all about one single most energy. And prayer is all about one single most energy and sentiment that we call love. One very great philosopher once said that forget God, love will do. Don't forget love, God alone won't do. Because love propels creative forces. Love propels the sentiments of the creator, of the absolute. And thus were born philosophies of religions and philosophies of isms. So, panpsychalism is the philosophy of the minded. And they say that everything in life is about your mind. All creativity is about your mind. All power of prayer is all about the mind. And then, diametrically opposite, there is a philosophy of Pantheism, where with deep reverence and love, you bow to the creative forces that weaves in everything that we see and not see, everything that we experience, and everything because of which we experience it all. And then, the prayer of the simple, epistemological humility, absolute humility, bowing to the magnanimity of the Creator, looking at a wonderful flower and its fragrance, smelling its fragrance, looking at the wings, fragile wings of the birds and say, why God, they could fly miles above. Looking at a coconut tree and say, water so sweet can climb up 200 feet. Now this is being epistemologically inclined and humility. Now this is the love. And now let me tell you a very small story of a prayer which Moses was used to. So there was a shepherd standing in the jungle in a full moon night, just went by 2-3 days back. And the shepherd boy was praying, oh God, you must be so tired. Oh God, your feet must be hurting because you stand 24 hours to look after the whole universe and serve. You must be so exhausted because you think for everybody. You reach out to everybody. You feed everybody. You run everybody's life. Please allow me to press your feet, press your head. And Moses, passing by, reprimanded the boy and said, you shameless creature, don't you know how to respect and revere God and pray to God? Is this the way you address God? And that shepherd boy felt very uncomfortable, reprimanded, and intimidated. He walked away. And as he walked away, there was a sermon from the sky. And the sermon says, Moses, if you want to learn what a prayer is, learn from the shepherd boy. The prayer is in the sentiment. The prayer is in the love. The prayer is in the offering. Of course, there are prayers of the Agyari. Of course, there are prayers of the mantras. Now, prayers of the mantras are primarily for manifestation. But there is a prayer of the sincere. And the prayer of the sincere is only gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. and the prayer of the Sufi and the prayer of the Fakir simply bows down and simply thanks, thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you, God. That's all a prayer is. And then, of course, then there's a prayer of the observer's principle. Then there's a prayer of the Heisenberg's principle. And when we bring in all the science to the prayers become creative, productive. The prayers create magic, manifest for us. Let me tell you, the energy in its most nascent form is invisible, untouchable, cannot be experienced, and it is formless, it is nameless, and it's called a wave. But when in that field of energy, you put a lot of attention, you energize the field. Then with your prayer, encoding your words, and then as you hear, decoding them. When you pray and chant, then you put intention into the field. So when you put attention into the field, you energize it. When you put intention into the field, you transform it. You can bring about rain, you can bring about fire, you can bring about love, sentiments, emotions, hair-raising experiences, fulfillment, joy. Then there is a prayer of the meditation. Simply being, not doing. No rituals needed. I mean, gods will never put guns on your head and say, do the rituals for me. Gods simply want you to be centered, be in the state of joy, be in the state of sakshi, witness, pure watcher, observer, everything that is going on before you. Not getting aligned, not getting attached, not getting divided. So that's the prayer of the divinity. And prayer of the lowest is a prayer in the courts. My Lord, my prayer is to have a bail for my client. That's the prayer of the lowest. My God, Tata ne aapyu, Birla ne aapyu, Mane ne aapyu. That's the prayer of the lowest. The prayer of the highest is gratitude. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's the sentiment, it's the bhav, anubhav, when every atom within you gets synchronized and synergized with every subatomical particle outside of you. You come in accordance, you get synchronized with the creative field, with the magnetic field, with the geomagnetic forces. And in that oneness, you express the glory of God. In the name of God, you glorify the creation, the creativity, and you allow people to join you. So that's the other kind of a prayer. So divinity, my dear friends, is always in the principles, never in the embodiment. You can become an epicenter of it, you can become an epitome of it, but never an embodiment. Divinity is in the principles. So let's live the principles of joy and principles of divinity, and principles should be purpose-driven. Principles should be motivational-driven. Prayers could also be purpose-driven, and prayers could also be self-inspired, self-motivated. A single-minded, single-pointed star prayer, like a laser. So let me say the acronym for the laser. Light, amplified, surgically, energy, radiation. A pinpoint sharp heat and light directed towards one point, capable of cutting through. A kind of prayer like the way our friend Zarrir does, like the way my friend at Godrej Bagh Agyari Harvespa does, like the way my friend at the Behram Yazat Shrine at Kalba Devi, Katrak Sahib does, and many other mobbits too. So laser sharp, pinpointed, single-minded. So that is a prayer. A prayer is an opportunity to transform you from within and everything else from outside. A prayer is harmonizing regulating, synergizing, synchronizing the energy field around you, the environment around you, the ecosystem around you. Insurmountable challenges can be taken care by prayers of the silence also. Now, the prayer of the silence, sitting quiet, surrender, let it be, let it go, let it be, let it go. The ultimate faith is about being a yogurt. We take a melavni, we take milk, we churn it around, and then we leave it with a dhakna on top of it. And the yogurt doesn't do anything for it to get formed, and neither you have to do anything every hour with a spoon to check whether the yogurt is formed. Let it be. Let it go. That is a prayer and an attitude of faith. Faith means let it be. Faith means accept, let it be, let it go. So that's a prayer of being. Then prayer of chant is prayer of being and becoming. And a prayer of meditation is all about a prayer of seeing. Make your attitude such that when the chromosomal combustion of your cellular being comes to a point of collapse, either you become a creative caterpillar and become a butterfly, or a compelling catastrophe and you crumble down. So that's the end of my presentation about prayer and happiness. And with every prayer, you can get energized. With every prayer, you can get maximized. With every prayer, your faith can get optimized. Your faith can get regularized. Your power within you can get revitalized. You can get synchronized, evolutionized, revolutionized, internalized, eternalized. Magic maximized to get Mickey-mized.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much, Dr. Mickey Mehta, for putting things together so beautifully for us and explaining so carefully so that we could understand. Today's speakers, as you have seen, represent the world. And this has been possible thanks to my dear Baba Meher, whose work has been focused on creating unity within diversity in humanity. And I'm very grateful to him for being my kind mentor and facilitator and putting this program to the world. Our team has made this possible. You have all together made this possible. So if you would please kindly start filling the chat box with your specific questions for clarification to a particular speaker. And also, and that when I call upon you, I'll call upon you by name, you will be seen by the world. Address your question within 30 seconds, please, and then allow time for the speaker to respond. Then we will also intersperse these with what we call the BaHuman sharing section. And in that, you please come up with whatever you would like to share, a story with your Dasturji, a story in front of the Atash Padshah of an experience you had, a story of an Agyari, whatever you like, and please limit yourselves to 2 minutes. Once you finish, please mute yourself. Let us all come together to share, to love, to spread the joy of our prayers. And if we have differences, let us respect them with gratitude for the opportunity to think and polish our mind, which is what Zarathustra Sahib has taught us to do. I'm also very grateful to the Zoroastrian Faculty Network, who are represented here today in great numbers, for the good work they have been doing to help the world polish their mind for the last several months and before that. Yazdi sir, if I may please have the previous slide for a minute. The one before that. So putting everybody together is something that each association around the world has achieved. So thank you for that. I'd like to thank each person on this slide individually. Prayers to Mobid Sahib Soli Dastur and at the moment to Mobid Mehraban Firouzgary also. Thank you, Noshir, for balancing things for us. Thank you, Yazdi Tatra, for holding the technology together. You're my COVID hero. Thank you for holding the technology together for so many platforms. Thank you to each one of you. Thank you, Arzan, for taking BaHumata to the world. Thank you, Petrus, for giving us so much different insight. And Mickey and Nina, thank you. Now, we also have young youth ambassadors for BaHumata who will bring to the world their message in due course. You've already had one video from Ervad Sahib Yazad Unwala. Each one of them, and I hope the team grows throughout the world. We'll now pause for 53 seconds while we hear Yasna 28.1, allow you to reflect upon the talks and on this little flow chart of thoughts I've put together as the basis for the BaHumata endeavor. After that, we'll start taking questions and open the floor.
Ostano zasto rafidrayao Mani us mazal por mim Spentayao Ashao Vispe Shoram Wangiush Kretum Manango Ya Shevisha Keusha Urvane Ayaya
I'll pause it there. That was a recording from my mummy Jaru. If any one of you has any recordings or would like to sing any part of the Gatha, just single Yasna has, please email me. I'll put my email at the very end. Now let us start with a question. Yazdi, will you please show us the whole gallery that you can? Thank you. So we have a question from Benaz Patel to everybody. Benaz, would you please unmute yourself and ask your question to Mobid Sahib Zarrir Bhandara? That's okay. Benaz may have left, but she's left.
Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. I'm here, but I couldn't unmute earlier. Thank you so much, madam. Ma'am, my query is, we often pray Adibesharas for our loved ones. So sometimes I wonder that in Dua Tandurasti, we take the names of those for whose Tandurasti we are praying. In our Adibesharas, is there any provision so that we can include the name of the person for whom we are praying the Adibesharas? We don't always pray for just our health and for the health of humanity in general. There are times when we pray for the specific, good health of a specific person when in times of need. So is there some place where we can include the name, please?
Thank you, Benaz. Mobid Zarrir Bhandara Sahib, please.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. Only way you can do, all our prayers are for everybody. So when you're praying, your focus should be on that particular person who is healing. And once again, I stress that your focus should be on healing and not sickness. When your focus is on healing, and at the same time, you are uttering those avastamatravani, you are channelizing those healing thoughts with avasta prayers to that person, and the result is Karishma, that is a miracle. The person is healed.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Our next question is not so much a question, but it's from a lady called It's Dr. Meher Master Moose. Please, Dr. Meher Master Moose, would you kindly unmute yourself and either make your comment or your question? I think it's a comment. They've had very bad power failures in India, so I'll quickly read this out to you. Just thank you to the BaHumata team for this joyous occasion to hear and see the respected and greatly loved Mobed Firouzgary. Thank you, Dr. Meher Master Moose.
I'd like to share something, if I may. This is the power of mantras. Here at the Zoroastrian College building, we have our Mobed come and recite the Afagan, Farokshi, and Satum prayers every day and also perform the boy ceremony. In this COVID shutdown period, after the 22nd of March aerial spraying, all the trees in this whole area of Gujarat and surrounding region of Sanjan were affected. There were no mango crop at all. Even in our own garden, there are more than a dozen mango trees. Only one tree produced more than 200 mangoes this year. And that was the tree which grows just next to the window of our prayer room. In the Zoroastrian College building, it's not exactly a darbemer, it's a college, but we have a separate prayer room. And the power of the sound of the Avasta mantras, which this tree received, enabled it to produce over 200 mangoes this year. So that is an example of Mantravani power.
Thank you very much, Dr. Meher Master Moose, for this wonderful share. And thank you for being with us today. We now have a question from Dr. F.N. Raimalwala. Please, would you unmute yourself? He'll join us if he can. Until then, sir, please clarify whether to stand during boy. Up to now, all opinions are given as not definitive. It should be uniform, either stand or sit as per your expert advice. Mabit Sahib Zarrir.
Thank you, Dr. Amalwala, for the question. There is no specification whether you have to stand or sit. But in my humble opinion, if you can, you stand up during the boy ceremony, letting go of all the negativity from your mind and body and spirit, and at the same time, making yourself receptive to receive our Master's blessings in you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mabed Zarrir. We have a comment from Omid Mehraban. He's a Mobedyar, a recently highly qualified Mobedyar. Mobedyar Mehraban is also Mehraban, Mobed Mehraban Firouzgary's student. And Mehraban Sahib has invested many hours into training, as he does with many other students. Mobedyar Omid, are you there? The next one is from Kersi Kambata to Mobed Zarrir. Mr. Kersi Kambata, please unmute yourself. He says a big thank you to Mobed Zarrir Bhandara for a wonderful way to communicate hope to our Zoroastrian youth who are listening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Anything else you would like to say, sir, please?
Yeah, it's out of the religion. Apro Zartos Jhan Turel ne prayers che mari taraf who have got burnt. I would bless the young priest who is recovering. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for bringing that up. All our priests all over the world do so much, and our youngest priest was most badly affected. Maybe just quickly say a little prayer for him.
Thank you.
Zarrir Sahib, would you like to say a small prayer for our little Ervat Turel?
How about we recite Tandarusty prayer for whole world?
Thank you.
Yes down, Panabao, Nirju Shaun Bao, Banami Kudao, Banami Yazan, Bakshaw, Yandahin, Bakshaw, Yazgar, Mehraban, Yatha Huvario, Atharatu, Shashaw, Chi, Thacha, Vange Kush, Dasdao, Manango, Shotnam, Ange Kush, Masdai, Kshatrim cha Ahurai Aim Regubyo Dadad Vastarim Yatha Huvario Atharatu Shashauchi Tacha Vange Kush Dasdao Manango Shotnanam Ange Kush Masdai Kshatrim cha Hurai Aim Regubyo Dadat Mastare Tandurusti Dirjivashni Ayan Koryanga Dashinda Yazdaning Minoan Yazdaning Getian Haftami Shasman Yazda Roshan Hamembarisan In Dunyaban in Kunyaban Hamender Cassandra Zaratushin in Shamban Aidunban Yabarin Kodam Kodavandi Alamra Hame Anjumanra Dinyeg Zartostira Ervad Zehanra Ervad Solira Ervad Mehrabanra Bam Farzandan Hazar Sal Dirbedar Shad Bedar Tandurust Bedar Bedar Bar Sarir Zanyan Salahin Bishiyan Vakarnain Bishumar Baki Vapain Dedar Hazaran Hazar Afrin Ba Sal Khojastin Ba Rosin Farokh Ba Ma Mubarak Ba Chand Sal Chandros Chandama Bishar Sa Arzani Dar Yajashnain Onya Yashnain Uradi Varzor Varashnain Ashayda Ravarin Amakaro Kerfriya Tandurusti Ba Neki Ba Khob Ba Aidun Tarasma Payasam Ramin Shasman Kamima Ashim Vahishtam Asti Ushtavasti Ushtaman Yatashan Vakishtan Hashem.
Thank you very much, Mabed Zarrir. We have three people who have raised their hands. Please unmute yourself, Avat Darya.
Hello, everybody. Happy New Year. Thank you for participating me in this program. I have a question, please. Is it necessary for every Zoroastrian to have Sadra Poshi, please? Thank you so much.
Who would like to address this question?
It doesn't matter who answering me the question. Thank you so much. Ahura Mazda, bless all.
Thank you. Mobed Zarrir Sahib, would you like to give your opinion?
Sure. As a Zoroastrian, the most important garment, which is your Sudre and Kusti. In our scripture, it is said that Sudre and Kusti garments are the golden tools to keep you safe and progress in this world and the other. So in my opinion, Sudre and Kusti are very important and one should always invest it.
Thank you very much for your question, and thank you, Mobed
but-
Sahib, for the answer.
But
We now
because
move
we
on.
don't have many Mobed or Atrawan in Kurdistan, Iraq, we have only 4 Atrawan. Until now, we don't have Mobed, we don't have Pir, we don't have anybody. And we cannot every time travel to another city, another village, to another dorp. We cannot do that because it is far away for each other. That is why. And you know, I have one question, again, another guest. Sorry for that. I take your time. But
We
you
will
know,
take
Islam,
we
why
will take
became
one last
Islam so much? Because Islam just say Ashhadu anna la ilaha illallah, become Islam. But in Zoroastrian, we should make a new rule that everybody can become Zardashtian. Maybe later we can make Asad Raposhi to them, because in Kurdistan we are now 300,000 Zoroastrian, 300,000 Zoroastrian in Kurdistan, which is North Iraq, but we have only 3 or 5. We have only four Atharawan, not Mobed.
Thank you very much for your comment. That was very helpful. Thank you very much. We will bear that in mind, and I'm sure the various Mobed Sahibs will be stretching out their hand as we say Ushtavaiti to reach you. Thank you very much. Please, would Yasmin Charna now unmute herself to address her question or comment? We'll come back when she's ready. Omid Mehraban, Mobediyar Omid Mehraban.
Yes, can you hear me? Master. Thank you so much, everybody, for this great gathering. Thank you so much for this organization to have this gathering and very great participants. So the conclusion, what I understood, and I think is good to share with everybody that, you know, everybody knows, when we are in a calm and quiet state of mind, that's the time that light comes to us. That's the time that gratitude comes. And meditation, with yoga, with all these practices, and also the concept that mantra basically is to have us to get to that state of mind, to be calm, to not become just be in our head, but just being, and concentrate on ourselves. And that's the time light comes to us. And this is a really great event that had that deep concept, and projecting that deep concept. It's not about the word, it's not about the basically the meanings and all these things. It's about being calm, being centered, and let the light come to us. Bless you. Thank you so much.
Omid is also a very highly trained industrial engineer. So thank you. He understands the concept of vibrations. We have a few more questions, but till I find them, I think my mother Jaru, whose recordings you heard today, would like to ask a question. Yes, Mami?
Please explain, Mobed Zarrir, who is God? What is God?
Thank you for your question, Jaru Mami. Over to Mabed Sahib. Yazdi, please, would you unmute Mabed Sahib?
Thank you, Jaru, for your question. In Tuanam Satashni, we refer to God as Hamabud, Hamahast, Hamabed, who was, who is, and who will always be. In terms of physical form, if you want to see as God, the enthroned fire in our consecrated Agyari Atash Varams, that fire is the representative of Aura Mazda. We call Atro Aura Mazda Putra, Tava Atrash Putra Aura Mazda, meaning son of God, which also means a purifier. So when we, in a clean state, after shower, performing custody ritual, when we go in front of a fire, we are actually standing in front of Lord Aura Mazda. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mabed Zarrir. If Yasmin Charna is present or Zoya Pastakia is present, would one of you unmute your mics, please? Dr. Hovi Shroff, are you still here?
Yes,
We've got
I'm
both.
here.
I'm going to mute one of you, and Zoya Pastakia, first you.
That's Zarrir Bhandara. I can say you mute.
Okay, we can't hear Zoya Pastakia. Yes, Zoya Pastakia right now. We'll come back to her. Dr. Hovi Shroff, would you unmute yourself, please? Thank you.
Thank you all so very much. This was extremely enlightening. I wanted to especially thank all of you for making the topic so current and so relative. I think it's so very important, and stressing upon the fact that the translations of our prayers are not as important as the actual vibrations and the energy. I think that is so, so important. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. I also wanted to actually just ask Mickey if he could just go over his acronym of LASER, because I thought that was really interesting. I'm a psychologist by background, and a lot of the stuff that you guys talked about resonated for me. So thank you all very, very much. So if Mickey's still there, and if you could just explain the LASER acronym, that would be awesome.
Okay. So I'm not a science student, neither I'm an engineer, but from whatever little I remember, having read this many, many years back, so light amplified surgical energy radiation.
Thank you so much.
I'd like to comment something on Shudrekasti, something on rituals, that they are very important, but not imperative. Remember one thing. What is most important is the sentiment of your feeling and your absolute sincerity in your being. Rest everything probably could be there, couldn't be there. But most important, your single pointed, laser sharp sincerity and devotion is most important. And go beyond religion if you want to be spiritual. Religions divide, spirituality unites. So Ahura Mazda is the single most uniting factor of all humans, and not just humans, animals, plants, stones, rocks, water, oceans, rivers, skies, stars. We don't discriminate. God is the oneness. God is a process of being and becoming. God is the connect. God is the phenomena. If you were to ask somebody, some IT professional what God is, they would probably say, God is a causal, non-local electromagnetic field of energy and information. with self-referral, cybernetic feedback loops. It is all about that invisible energy that you can feel, that you can connect with, that you can harness, that you can receive, that you can transmit. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you so much for your comment and your question. We have Katie. Katie, would you be able to unmute
Can you hear me?
Yes, Zoya. Thank you for being with us. Please ask your question or comment.
Sorry, I was driving. I'm actually in the car. That's why I was struggling with it a little bit. I have two questions for Mobed Zarrir, please. I have, my first question is, during our periods, should we do Sadre Kasti and our regular prayers, or can we? And the second thing is, in our religion, are we prohibited to eat non-vegetarian or not? Could you not hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes. Thank you for asking this question, Zoya. To answer your first question, during periods, follow the traditions, what it says, that during traditions you can pray the Azad mantras. And why do we do that? Because we are in an unclean state. And that is the reason. There is no discrimination, nothing of that sort. Even if a man is in an unclean state, even if a priest who has an open wound is not supposed to perform any rituals because of the contamination. So similarly, if a woman is in period, she is in an unclean state, and during that state, she can perform all the Azad mantras, which are Yatha, Shem, and so on. And talking about Sudra and Kusti, normally ladies have a separate Kusti to wear during that time of period. To answer your second question, is it not, shouldn't we be eating non-vegetarian food? To me, in my opinion, it doesn't say in our religion whether to do this or do that. But God has given us mind to think about, is cruelty good to animals? When there is a plate of food in front of you, you ask yourself the source of that food. Does this involve cruelty? If it involves cruelty, then it is up to you what to do and what not. In a lot of our prayers, especially Ma Mukhtar Nyash, we say 9 times that we revere Geush Urwan, the animal kingdom, the cows, the cattle. And then after praying, we start eating meat. It doesn't make sense to me. Also in Shahnameh, it says that the meat-eating habit started with Iblis, who was a personified devil, who first comes to Zoak's life and makes a plan to kill his father. Second time he comes disguised as a chef. And first time in the human history, this is from the Shahnameh, the people start eating meat. And the third time, third time when he comes again to Zohar, when he makes those non-vegetarian stuff, the Zohar becomes very happy and asks whatever you want to ask. So he says, I want to kiss your shoulders. And he kisses the shoulders, the Iblis, who is a personified devil, and the serpents go. And the third time he comes disguised as a doctor, physician, and tells Zohar that only one thing can heal the serpents is to feed them human brains every day. And that is the tradition, unfortunately, we are following today of eating meat.
Thank you very much for your question and for the answer, Erwad Mobed Zarrir. Now we'll move on to Mr. Rahman. Now we'll move on to Mr. Rahman Ilavia. If you can unmute yourself to share your view. Mr. Rahman Ilavia.
Thank you, Karishma. Thank you, Karishma. I would like to congratulate BaHumata for its righteous efforts to unite our Zoroastrian community worldwide. On an inaugural webinar, I would like to draw kind attention of our community to the needs of an hour to preserve our heritage values and heritage villages. It hurts a lot when we visit our pilgrimage village, Udwada, and we see all the houses and all the studio apartments locked all time, not in COVID-19. It's our lockdown permanently, except holidays and Saturday, Sundays or Beram Roj. Construction of studio apartments would not improve this issue. I humbly request all to make united efforts to establish good civic infrastructure, healthcare, education, home industries like RTI, agriculture, art, religious classes, etc. to inspire Parsi families to settle permanently in and around Udwada and to prosper. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rahman Dilavia. We also have Roshan and Rohinton Rivetna with a comment. If they could unmute themselves, please, Mr. Rohinton and Mrs. Roshan Rivetna, and congratulations to you on your work with the wonderful NAMC and all the work you've done over the decades.
Okay. Thank you very much, Karishma, for organizing this beautiful and inspiring seminar. We really enjoyed hearing all the beautiful prayers and your explanations. And I really would hope that this is available as a recording for people who missed it.
Yes, it is being recorded by Mr. Tatra, and it will be uploaded on YouTube, which is why we said at the beginning, it will be recorded and shared on all social media in the true spirit of Asho Zarathustra. Regarding your comment about the content and the speakers, for that, we all have to thank my very beloved Baba Meher. He's taken this program to the world. We also have the support of Mr. Noshud Adrawala and so many other people. And of course, Yazdi Tatra makes it all possible for us all. We also have the NAMC, who has very, very kindly, thanks to Mabed Kobad Zarolia and Kobad Ardaviraf Minocheromji, who are putting up the recordings on NAMC to save it for future generations. So thank you very much. Now, also at this time, I would like to give my gratitude to Ervat Sahib Ramyar Karanjia. If you're still here, otherwise I'll pass it on later. Thank you very much for all that you've taught me and for giving me the strength to go ahead with things. Now, we have a couple more questions, possibly. No, actually, there's a comment from Dr. Hovi Shroff. It's been a real treat to see Dasturji Firouzgary and learning so much. If Hovi Shroff is here and can unmute herself, please go ahead. And if anybody else at this time would like to unmute themselves to say anything.
No, I have a question. Wanted to say thank you very, very much to Dastur Firouzgary and to Dastur Zarrir. I hope we can continue doing this because it's definitely needed. So thank you all very, very much. And Karishma, thank you to you for bringing all of this to us as well.
Thank you very much for being here right to the end. Thank you to the whole team. At this point, if we could just quietly focus our thoughts, like Mabed Zarrir Bhandara said at the beginning, with good thoughts, if we all together in the fellowship of Asho Zarathustra send out strong, positive vibrations to everybody in the world in this very difficult time, to use all the good principles to convert challenges to opportunities, to take strength from their situation, from their whole team, whatever their team, their parents, their children, their work, their faculties that they're with, and pray for the good of all. Thank you all very much. Thank you to all our speakers. Thank you to Mr. Meher Amalsad, who has arranged everything. Thank you to all of you who have joined us. Thank you, Noshir. A big thank you to Ervad Ramya Karanjia.
Are all the questions over? Can we ask a question?
Yes,
Are we
I
allowed
also
to
have a question.
Please,
Are
go ahead.
ask any question?
Yes.
This is Dr. Turel.
Dr. Mazda Turel, is that you?
No, Keki Turel.
It's
Father
Dr.
of Mazda.
Firstly, thank you very much for giving the world Dr. Mazda Turel.
No, this is Keki Turel.
Thank you,
Mazda's
Mr. Yes, please go ahead.
Now, I have followed your entire program. I have been a vegetarian by choice from the age of 6.5 because I love animals and I do not encourage any killing. Though I am a surgeon and I deal with flesh and blood every day, I am at the same time very protective of it. And I urge all fellow Zoroastrians who are meat lovers and fish lovers, please respect animal kingdom. It is because of them that there is a balance of ecology. And I pray that all Zoroastrians should be true vegetarians and give up their carnal habits of eating meat. I hope I get the support of my Parsi Mobbits.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your question, sir. We also
Karishma, can I go?
Yes, please.
Can I have one question?
1 minute. We'll take Katie first and then Mr. Yazdi Shroff.
Thank you, Karishma. Thank you very much for hosting the show. It was wonderful. A couple of quick questions for Morbid Bhandara. Is there a specific prayer we can do, especially right now during this pandemic going on? Something for mental tranquility? And why do we keep our hands open sometimes when we are praying and then sometimes join our hands? And can you shed some light about what you did as a child? You used to pray over a lot of people and heal them. Can you just share a little bit of that? A lot of people don't know. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. My God, there are like more than 3 questions. Okay, what was the first question? About the prayer for tranquility. Ma Bhaktar Nyash is the best prayer for peace and heart for mental tranquility. Second question was, oh, okay, that's an important question and it's a long answer for that. At times, we join our hands like this, and at times, we become receptive. So yes, why do we join our hands and why not we put our hands like this or in any other way? With my background in electricity, the left hand is brings the neutral and the right hand is positive. When you bring it together, you create a neutral, but with positive and negative coming together. So when you're praying, you get into a neutral state of mind. Once again, with my background in acupressure, with the backside knuckle, with the back knuckle, you are touching your sternum, and there is a point that is activated, and that the nerve that goes from the front, the vagus nerve. Vagal nerve is the only nerve that goes from the front. All other nerves goes from the back, your spinal cord, and it comes to your pineal gland over here, which is your third eye. So when you're doing this, you are totally into a receptive mode. You're neutralizing yourself, and through pituitary gland, all the good hormones flow and makes you more peaceful and receptive to get into, and it brings you into that meditative state of prayer. We keep our hands open while reciting Tandarasti and getting the blessings. So there are certain paragraphs in different prayers which are revering, and then there are certain paragraphs that we are asking for help. So that is when we open our hands and become receptive. Third question, when I was a child, I was healing a lot of people. I don't know, that was a long time ago. And yes, if you are in just right state of mind, And like Miki said at that time, like I did not know any prayers, but people felt that if this little boy, if touches somebody, that person heals. And that was the miracle happening through me, not by me. When I say I am, what I'm saying is AM is Ahura Mantra within me. So I let the God high spirits work through me, and then the desired goal is achieved. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that beautiful question, and to Ervat Sahib for his beautiful answer.
Thank you.
Mr. Yazdi Shroff has a question. We'll take that. And then after that, if you could unmute yourself by and by, and then we'll finish, so that Yazdi can go to sleep.
Yazdi has worked very
Yazdi has worked very hard all day. He's helped me put things together, the presentation. And we still have 296 people. We had a little over 300. Anybody else? Or maybe please.
Can I?
Yes, please, sir.
My question is to Mr. Mohammed Zarrir. Regarding the 5 boys which we are performing, can we have 3 or some 3 also?
Ervat Sahib Zarrir, Mohammed Zarrir, please unmute yourself. Thank you.
5 boys in 5 different gays are mandatory, but for some reason, due to unavoidable circumstances, if that is not possible, then in those circumstances, you have to do whatever best you can do.
Okay, for Atas Beram and the Adarian, it is compulsory 5 boys.
Absolutely.
And for Dadga and other places where it is not possible, we can have 3 boys also.
Yes.
Is it permissible? Okay. Thanks, Jody.
Karishma, my dear Karishma, may I ask if Zarrir Bhandara Sahib can address this problem of vegetarianism? Can you please comment whether the Zoroastrian should be vegetarian or should be non-vegetarian?
We're not getting very good sound, sir, and I think your question has already been answered.
No, it was not answered. It was only my comment. I was waiting Zarrir Bhandara's comment on vegetarianism.
Zarrir Bhandara Sahib has addressed it, but we'll request him to summarize for you once more.
Thank you very much.
If you would like
Sir,
to.
Could you please ask the question again? I was not very clear.
My question was of vegetarianism. I said I have been a vegetarian from my childhood because I believe that we should not be killing animals. And that is the tenet of our Zoroastrian religion.
Is there any tenet? Is that your question?
Yes.
In our scriptures, there is nothing black and white saying you do this or you don't do that. All you have to think in any given situation, what is right. But from all the scriptures, from Gathas, you can see that eating meat is not the right thing to do. From Mabukta Nyash, from Gathas, from Zarathustra's life, from Shahnameh, it is absolutely very clear that we should be vegetarians.
Thank you very much for your question. Thank you very much, Mohammed Sahib Zarrir, for your answer. Now we'll move on. If there's any other question for anybody, may I request you to please put it into an email. Our email addresses are available. We'll let everyone go to bed in India now and in the East, and let people in the West continue with their day. Is that all right with everyone? Hama Jor, Hama Shobad. Thank you very much to our speakers. Thank you to the BaHumata team. Please do give us your suggestions. There is a website, https //ba-humata.co.uk. Any mode of suggestions, any way of taking this to the world, any way of spreading Zarathustra's messages to the world, form a fellowship of collective consciousness through prayer with action and action to prayer. We look forward to your BaHumata.
Karishma, can we conclude by chanting one Yatha Huvayu and two Ashimbo together?
Yes.
Please join me in chanting one Yatha Huvayu and two Ashimbo to conclude this wonderful session. Yatha
Vahishtam asti Ushta asti Amma
Vahishtai Hashem Hashem
Vahishtam asti Ushta asti
God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Karishma. Thank you,
Thank you so
ma'am.
much.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you
Good
to the
night.
speakers
Much
and the
appreciated,
organizers
Ramin.
very much.
Thank you, Karishma.
Everybody, thank you.
Thank you,
Have a
everybody.
great day. Bye.
Good night. Let's do it again.